Good afternoon. Today is the 15th of April and let's return to our discussion of the MITC series by looking at the follow-up to Department S, Jason King. So Jason King was a direct sequel to Department S and was produced from 1970 to 1971 and broadcast from 71 to 72. It starred Peter Wyngarde as Jason King and Monty Berman's wife, who is normally not credited under Anne Berman. Can't remember her surname now. But her name was Nicola Harvester in the series as his publisher. It didn't star any of the people from Department S. We didn't get Sakota Suretse, didn't get Stuart Sullivan, we didn't get Annabelle Hurst. But we did get those sort of replaced by a couple of other characters, one played by Dennis Price and another one who was played by the chap who got his face melted in Raiders of the Lost Ark, whose name I can't remember offhand. If I remember it, I'll put it in the comments and I'll mention it later. But they were the people who he dealt with generally when he was on some kind of assignment. The thing that happened with Jason King was that Monty Berman's Lew Grade's wife. Lew Grade's wife thought that Peter Wyngarde was the best thing since sliced bread, and she wanted to see another series with him in, but they thought Department S had run its course, and so they decided to let him go on his own. Now, this had sort of mixed results. Monty Berman was keen to continue earning lots of money for Scotland Productions, and Peter Wyngarde obviously was keen to do another thing. But the quality of the series deteriorated literally because it wasn't made on 35mm film, as most of the ITC series of the 60s had been. It was made on 16mm film, which looks a lot worse. And the Adventurer and the Protectors also suffered the same fate, as did the Professionals. They're all made on 16mm film with 35mm title inserts. Also, they did do some location footage in Europe for all three of these series, including Jason King, but it's really obvious, Jason King particularly, that it's just him walking around in Vienna in particular is the one that's memorable to me. And they just kind of get one person with a camera walking around and following him doing things. And it doesn't really add anything to where, before they do stock footage or a set, or they would use the backlot at Elstree Studios, or they would find a location in Britain near Elstree Studios that looked vaguely like abroad. Having it kind of, have harsh bits which are really poor quality film abroad doesn't add very much to it, in my opinion. Of course, you do still get stock footage, you still do get sets pretending to be abroad. You do still get places around the sort of Boreham Wood area trying to be places abroad, and cars with number plates that have been changed and things like that. But for some reason, not having Annabelle and Stuart there, it just loses something. And Jason King, he can manage, but he's in his own little weird world, and he's strong enough to carry a series on his own, Peter Wyngarde, for sure, but I'm not sure he was the right sort of choice to take this forward. And it doesn't quite work as well as Department S, in my opinion. So it is a bit of a weird one. In some ways it's really good. We've still got some very good guest stars like Mike Pratt, who appears in an episode called A Red Rose Forever. There's Ronald Lacey, who is the chap I spoke about earlier, who's one of the government agents paired with with King in terms of liaising with him, because he's still a freelance writer and he's still working in an informal capacity for an intelligence service. It's just that he's kind of, you know, his own boss really now. So what about the cars of Jason King? Well, the most famous car of Jason King continues to be a Bentley, just like it was in Department S, except it's not a maroon 1959 Bentley S2 by James Young. This is a 1960 Bentley S2 Continental two-door by H.J. Mulliner, and it's silver. So for some reason they changed the car. I don't really know why. They didn't need to do that, but they did. There's lots of Citroëns in this for some reason. I'm not sure if Citroën are going to product placement deal with them or not, but we've got a 1969 AMI 8, a 1968 DS19, 1968 ID19, and a 71 DS21. And I suspect because of the date of the filming of the series, the DS21 was supplied by Citroën. We've also got a 1969 Ford Capri GT with an XLR pack in one episode. It was probably a press car. There's a Vauxhall Viva SL, which is an HC Viva, that appears in episode 25 in other episodes as well. I assume that's placed by Vauxhall. There's also a Porsche 911E, which is CLB 911H, and that appears in episode 12. And I assume with that one that it was actually placed by Porsche UK, because that's a car that appears in many contemporary road tests at the time. We don't, however, have the same level of kind of product placement with the cars as in Department S. So the Vauxhall Viva is not a main character car, and it doesn't appear in that many episodes. Whereas we do see other stuff like there's a Ford Zodiac, FPU 335H, which is an episode called A Deadly 90 Digits. It's one of the ones with Ronald Lacey in it. And there's a Toyota Corolla Coupe. Now, there's two of these. One of them is a UK spec car. It's an E20 model Corolla. It's ERK 489J as far as I can read the plate. It's quite hard to read that. There's also a left-hand drive car of the same type. They're both yellow, which is confusing, but they're different because one's right-hand drive, one's left-hand drive. So that the Ford Zodiac and the Corolla are probably placed by Ford and Toyota respectively. But there's a load of other cars in there too. So you've got cars in there these days which have been pretty rare, like a 1966 Mercedes-Benz 250S in episode 8, a 1970 Volkswagen 411, a Type 4 in episode 9, the 1966 Ford Galaxy 500, which appears in an episode of Randall Hawkett Deceased, and one which episode of Department S2. There's a 1967 Opel Record C. There's a 1970 Porsche 9146 in episode 15. There's a 1972 Porsche 911T in episode 5, although I suspect that's probably a 72 model, not a car that was made in 72 because production finished by late 71 anyway. There's a lovely Alfa Romeo 1750 GT Veloce in episode 1. And I think that's most of the cars in Jason King. There's only I've forgotten, I do apologise. Those are the ones that I could spot. I don't really watch Jason King that much. It's not one of my favourite series, although my wife and I watched the episode with Mike Pratt as a guest star in it recently. And it was a lot better than I remember, but I just don't, it's not really my thing. I prefer Department S. Maybe I'm a bit prejudiced, but yeah, that's the way that things tend to go with ITC fandom, doesn't it? So I hope you found that video interesting. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below. I might not upload tomorrow because I'm going to be in a remote part of the country with very bad internet access, but if that happens, I'll upload twice on Wednesday possibly. My website is www.lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. If you wish for me to source a car for you, then please do use the Contact Me tab on my website to get in touch directly. It doesn't have to be any car that I've mentioned in the video. It can be anything from about £800 to £30,000. I'd love to do that if that's of interest to you. And thank you very much once again for watching.